Okay, so we are live. So, hello everyone. Welcome to yet another session from Cyber Preserve. My name is Asta, and I have someone with me today, and Shruti. Today we have a special guest. His name is Apurv Singh Gautam. So, Apurv hails from India. He came to US for a master's degree in cybersecurity, and currently Apurv is working as a threat researcher at Cyber. Today, Apurv is going to cover the topic of Darknet and open source intelligence. So, welcome, Apurv. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey, Asta. Yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you. So, I think you can take over the session. You can start sharing your screen, and it's all over to you.
Okay, sure. Let me share my screen.
Sure.
Is it visible?
Yes, you're good to go.
Okay, sure. So, hello everyone. My name is Apurv Singh Gautam. Today I will be covering about dark web monitoring and everything you need to know about it. And this includes like from tools, methods, how you can basically start if you want to start in dark web monitoring. So a little about me. Again, my name is Apurv Singh Gautam. I am currently working as a threat researcher at Cyber. I recently graduated from Georgia Tech. I was doing my master's in cybersecurity from there. Uh, since the past year, I've been presenting at different conferences like SANS, besides GrimCon, and I've been talking a lot at conferences, and I love it. Some of my hobbies include hiking, lockpicking, and I play a lot of game. Mostly Rainbow Six Siege. I do stream it sometimes, but nowadays I've started playing Far Cry also. I think Far Cry 6 just came, so I started playing that. So yeah. So today we will talk about introduction to dark web. Obviously, what dark web is, how you can access dark web, and the reason why we are focusing on the dark web. Like as a researchers, why is it important, or as a company, why you should invest or why you should have a dark web team in your company. Then we will talk about few methods and skills that is needed if you are starting in dark web monitoring, and there too we will go in deep in people skills and tech skills, and we will stop with operation security, how you can secure yourself while doing that dark web monitoring, and we will see a case study, a small case study, and then we will conclude the talk. So starting with the introduction to dark web, I'm sure you must have seen this image a lot of time, and a dark web talk without an iceberg image is not a dark web talk. So basically the web is divided into three parts, that is surface web, deep web, and the dark web. And surface web is also called as clear web. So surface web is basically all the sites that are indexed by search engines like Google, Bing, Yahoo, etc. These are basically the sites you can just Google and you will get it. The second is deep web. So deep web, it constitutes the largest portion of the web. These are the sites which you cannot directly access from Google or from other search engines. So it can be anything. Let's say, for example, your college website where you can log in to see your results or see your courses which you have signed up for, or your if you have bought any server, let's say on DigitalOcean or Google Cloud, and you have that IP to access it, it will not be indexed on Google or any other search engine. So these type of sites are in deep web. Now the last part, dark web, which we will talk about today, is these are the sites that are accessible using some special software or using the special routing methods. And again, there are many forums and marketplaces in these in the dark web, and we'll talk about it in the coming slides. So a little deep into the dark web, there are different organizations that offer their or that started their dark web systems. So there are Tor, I2P, ZeroNet, Freenet, and others. The famous ones are Tor and I2P, and today we will talk only about Tor because that's the most people know about. So basically, Tor, or the full form is the Onion Router, is an anonymization system. It is a three-layer proxy-based system, and from the name itself, you can guess three layers proxy, which is it minimum. It takes three different nodes to go to the destination. So, as from the image, if let's say Alice is the source, it's going to destination to some website. So minimum it will take three routes, and in Tor we say nodes or routes, and these nodes are volunteer based systems. So the anonymization part here is the first node or each node will know only the location of the node traffic coming from and the node traffic is going to. So for example, the first node will not know the location of the third node, and that's how they manage this whole anonymization thing. And the onion router, the onion analogy here comes is the traffic or the packet are encrypted in multiple layers that open at each node. That's where the onion analogy comes. Now, I'm sure you must have seen these onion domains or domains that end in .onion. These are the Tor domains that you can access using a special browser, which is Tor browser, or using Tor route, or using proxy, Tor proxy, or different proxy chains, basically that goes to Tor routes. And these are, again, the domains are, there are two types of domains. One is 16 character and one is 56 character. And they are based on the cryptographic algorithm used behind it, which is 16 character is called, I think, V2, and the other one is V3. And V2 is going to be deprecated soon. So coming to what's all the hype about dark web, like why people are talking about it, what kind of things people, think about when they talk about dark web. Like if some people think that dark web is this, some people think dark web is that. Is it, if it is true, like what things are true? So let's talk about that. So the first thing is people think that dark web is a really big part of the internet, uh, which is not true. If you compare the websites uptime from the clear web and the dark web, the clear web wins because most of the websites on the clear web are 99.999% up. On the dark web, that's not ideal. Many sites, they, let's say site ABC is up today, it will be down tomorrow. And in a day also, they come up and down many times. There are very few sites that are always up. So that's busted there. It's not mysterious and vast part of the internet. The second is it's place for cyber criminals only. That's again false. There are many people like journalists, activists, people who are searching for some good research. They go there and they go to these sites and try to search for those things. So they are not cyber criminals. And that's why there are many popular sites like Facebook and Times who have their .onion website on the dark web, so that you can go easily search without any prying eyes. The third is it's illegal to access dark web. So again, which is not true. It's completely legal to access the dark web. It's just illegal to indulge in illicit activities, and yeah, that's illegal. So those are the myths that people think about when they hear dark web. And now these are some of the site examples that I took from one of the wiki sites. Now, dark web sites, there are a lot of forums and marketplaces on the dark web, some good, some bad. And you can just, if you want to go to any site, if you want to know about any site, you can just Google dark web sites or different Google searches, and you will get all these wiki pages. Now, from here, we will start to talk about more on why, as a researcher, you should focus on the dark web. So the first thing is, what type of information is sold on the dark web? Like, why, as a security researcher, we are focusing on the dark web? It's because information like health records, social security numbers, PII, like address, phone number, date of birth, email password details, and also financial data like credit card, CC number, and other numbers and account details are being sold on the dark web. Exposed databases, exposed code bases of big companies, they are being sold on the dark web. So as a company, you would want to look into these. Let's say, just for example's sake, if you are if you are a bank, then you would want to look into forums or marketplaces that deal with financial data, so that you can figure out, okay, someone is selling credit cards that belongs to this bank or our bank, so we can stop it, we can block those cards. And similarly, what cost of products are, like what type of how much for how much these threat actors are selling these products for. So just for an example, SSN, you can get it in $2, credit card $25 plus, Facebook account with some friends, and depending on 100 friends, 1,000 friends, 10,000 friends, you can get, it starts from $65. License passport of different countries, it starts from $100 to $7,000. So you can imagine how these things are being sold on the dark web. And similarly, these are some of the screenshots of how on different forums and marketplaces these threat actors post their deals. So going deep into why we are focusing on the dark web. So as I already told you, there are many forums and marketplaces on the dark web, and threat actors or criminals, they come there, they learn from other threat actors, they try to sell their products, and products can be products or services. So services includes ransomware as a service, malware as a service, hacking as a service. So these are the services that includes. So these threat actors, they communicate with each other. Most of the time they try to recruit other threat actors also to do their bidding, to try to get some information from particular company. And if you are as a researcher, if you're searching on these things, you can identify these attacks in earlier stages. You can identify the TTPs, which is threat tactics, techniques, and procedures. What threat actors are talking about, you can identify these things. This was the first thing. The second thing is the impact. So let's say if you're a company and your database is being sold on the dark web, there are some serious impacts that come because of that. So some of the direct impacts, obviously your data is lost now. Someone is selling your data on the dark web, that's it. But the serious part is the indirect impact. So reputation loss, when the mostly whatever company data is being sold on the dark web, it comes to news really quick. So reputation loss, then revenue loss, and also legal penalties that comes with it if you are dealing with customer data and that's being lost. So that's why doing research on dark web is really important, and doing timely research on the dark web is really important. Now I will show you 3 examples of how these threat actors post something on the dark web. So the first is Oriflame. I'm sure you must know what Oriflame company is. Or if not, you can just Google it. So Oriflame, a threat actor, was selling different countries data of Oriflame, and I'm not sure how much is in detail you can see the image, but you can see in the middle there are different country acronyms, and he was selling different country databases and for free. The other one is someone selling the data, someone selling credit card data. So you can see they sell card number, credit card holder, expiration date, CVV, account number, etc. And the third one is related to PII, which is US citizens PII, including address, financials, contacts, and other PII data. And these type of things threat actors sell on the dark web, or threat actors post for free. So that's why doing research on the dark web is really important. As a company, or as a vendor-based company who are giving services to others. Now let's talk about methods and skills. If you want to start in this, let's say if you want to make a career out of it, or you're just interested into this. So there are two skills you need: people skills and technology skills. Now, people skills is really important. You can survive in this with just people skills. You don't need technology skills, but without people skills, you can't survive in this dark monitoring stuff. So starting with people skills, why is it important? You will know, I will talk about more why people skills is important. So what kind of people skills is understanding people, basically, knowing how they talk, how these threat actors on the dark web, they post things, what are their typing behavior. So knowing these things, sometimes knowledge of different languages comes into play, which is not necessary all the time, but yeah, let's say if you are talking to Russian threat actors, then obviously you don't want to use Google Translate or some other translator. You should know Russian language so that you can talk to Russian actors. So that's sometimes different knowledge of different languages comes into the play. And research mindset, obviously you should have those questions in mind, like what we are doing, why we are doing, why a particular threat actor is doing this, how are they getting into these systems, how are they selling these things. So those questions should come into your mind. So that's why research mindset should be there if you are going for dark web monitoring. Now coming to the tech skills. So tech skills, again, coding, scripting, knowledge of databases, because you deal with a lot of databases on the dark web. Most of the time the threat actors, they post these files in, let's say, SQLDB or a Mongo file. And most of the time, once you are getting these data in, you would want to store these into some kind of database. So that's where knowledge of databases comes into the play. And the last one is knowledge of VMs or cloud instances. So if you are doing Docker monitoring by yourself, you obviously you are not doing it on your own system. You should have a separate system, isolated system for this stuff only. So that's where, if you have knowledge of VMs or cloud instances, that comes into the play. You can tune it according to your research. Now, going deep into people skills. So here comes the OSINT part. So starting with OSINT, or open source intelligence, this is the first type of intelligence that people do usually when it comes to finding data on some threat actor or some threat post you saw on the dark web, let's say. So I will take example of finding something on the threat actor. So and OSINT is all the public data that you can get on the internet. So it can be anything starting from Google searching, social media monitoring, or any other site monitoring, where you can get things about the threat actor or about any person you are researching on. And that's why, so all these information are public information. The only part is searching in a proper way, using those search methods. Like if I'm taking Google, using those search criteria or search filters of Google to get that information out. So that's why it's sometimes easy, sometimes it's hard if you don't know the Google filters. Let's say if you don't know where to search for, then it becomes hard. But again, this comes under basic information gathering part. OSINT is just basic information gathering, and there are good and bad parts to OSINT. So the good part is, again, you get to know about threat actor, you get to basically monitor their activity that are there on the open web. The bad part is you don't the bad part is people do scam, people do social engineering attacks. Let's say if some person is posting a lot of things on their social media sites, some actor or threat actor, they can utilize that, or they can take those bits of information. They can create a, let's say, phishing attack, phishing email, and they can send it to you. So these things, they come into the play while doing scamming attacks or social engineering attacks. uh, and yeah, that's OSINT. So the next part is HUMINT, or human intelligence. This is where basically your people skills that I was talking about comes into the play, like understanding what what these threat actors are typing, the way they are typing it, the, what do you call, the type of post they are making. All these things come into human, and some of them comes into OSINT also, because when you are doing open source intelligence, then you do notice like what things they are posting in the open web, how they want to portray themselves. You note all those things. So coming to, again, human intelligence, this is basically the art of talking to actors, like doing the interpersonal contact rather than using some technical process or using some tools. So you are actually going to the threat actor, or going to the person, going to the attacker and talking to them. That's why it's dangerous. Dangerous in the sense, you don't want to reveal your information, like your true information, to them. You want them to think that, okay, you are a threat actor. And this includes infiltrating markets, forums, some private channels, to make that connection, to make that good connection to talk to the threat actor. Now, it takes a lot of time for human. It's not like you start today, you get good results tomorrow. It will take a lot of time. You have to maintain that good relationship with the threat actor. uh, and yeah, it's not easy. uh, the benefit of human is you get things out of that threat actor that you don't see normally posted anywhere. So you can basically, if you have that good relationship, you can know about why a particular threat actor attacked a particular company, let's say, or where a particular threat actor got that information or got that database, a really good database out. uh, who are there, like how are they selling these things, how are they getting these things so quickly. So you can do all those things, and that's where it comes. And you can also know about new attack vectors. So if a particular threat actor is going to attack some, let's say, website or some company, and they're recruiting someone, and if you have that good relationship with them, you can go talk to them, offer their skills, kind of to get their information out, like, okay, why you're attacking this company, how you're attacking this company, basically asking the attack vectors, like which ransomware you're using, which malware you are using, etc. So that's where it comes, like new attack vector discovery. And the second thing second thing coming out of this is you can do post attack investigation. So post attack investigation means once attack has happened, let's say some company's data is being sold on the dark web, if you have good relationship with the threat actor that is selling that, you can go talk to them again, where they got the data from, and etc. And yeah, as you can imagine, it is time consuming, and in a way you can think of this as a high technical equivalent of an FBI undercover agent going infiltrating criminal organization. So they take like months and years. So this thing also takes months and years, maintaining that relationship, and basically the difficult part is not revealing your information. Now coming to the technology skills. So tech skills again, starting with, if you are doing dark web research, you have to have a separate machine. You can't do this on your own machine for safety and security reasons. So starting with whether you have a separate lab, or whether you are just doing it in VM, it can be either physical or cloud. The main thing to note is it should be isolated. The network should be isolated. It should not be connected to any of your personal stuff, and uh, you should have those relevant tools if you have that coding background, if you are coding those things. If you are not, if you are just manual monitoring dark websites, then you don't need these tools. But if you are creating your own scraping tools or your own scraping scripts, then you need these tools installed. Now, there are many readily available tools also, which you can directly, these are OSINT tools, which you can directly download from GitHub and start running it. And there were many tools available. So I created sections or topics for these tools. So there are 4 topics basically: search engine tools, onion link collection tools, scan tools, and scripting tools. And again, all these tools are, I've listed all them on my GitHub repo here, so you can check them out later. So starting with search engine tools. So basically, again, these are not like these lists. They don't contain all the tools. I included the tools that were mostly known, and that or most of them were updated regularly, or they work really good. So I will go over one tool in each section because I don't have time to go through all the tools. So starting with search engine tools, there are 4 that I've included: Katana, Onion Search, EMEA Search, and Dark Search. The first 2 are command line tools, and the second 2 are GUI based, just like Google. So I will go over Onion Search here. Onion Search is basically a command line tool that searches on 16 different search engines, and it has multi-threading capability. As you can see, it's searching really fast. And basically what search engines are, you take a keyword, you put it, and basically how you Google search things, these are search engines for the dark web. And you get result out something like, for this it's name of website, name of the search engine, then name of the website, title, etc. Coming to the onion link collection tool, and other tools are again similar to like EMEA and Dark Search. These are GUI based, so you can just type your search keyword and it will give you all the onion links. Now coming to the onion link collection tool. So there are many tools out there or tools or websites out there that you can use to get daily onion status updates. By that I mean, again, as I told you, there are many onion links that come up and go down on a daily basis, or there are many new onion sites that are being discovered on a daily basis. So there are tools or search engines that offer these list that have all those new onion links. So one open source tool, or not open source, one free tool available is Hunchly. Now Hunchly has other benefits also, but we will not talk about that. The thing we are talking about Hunchly is their free newsletter, dark web newsletter thing, where they give out Excel sheet on a daily basis, and they it contains oh yeah, I have it. So it contains an Excel sheet where you can see the categories like down, which onion links are down today, which onion links are up today. If they found any new onion links, it contains all that. The other two, H-Indexer and Tor66, these are basically your dark web onion links. These are dark web sites, H-Index and Tor66. They have their own list that includes all the new onion links they find on a daily basis. And the last one is RNians, which is a Reddit channel. So you can go there. People do post about new links that they find. Now coming to the third category, which is onion link scan tools. Now scan tools is basically, let's say you have the onion links, or from search engines, you have got all the search engines results, and you have all those onion links. So you need, before visiting those onion links, you need to scan those, like what the onion link is for, what basically if the onion link is up or not. So you can, and if you have a lot of onion links, you can't just directly manually type it in a browser and then see. So that's why you need tools. So the first tool, which is Onion Scan, and Onion Scan is a really great tool, which tells you about, I think I have Onion Scan also. Yeah. So Onion Scan, it tells you about the vulnerabilities in the onion link, whether onion link is up or not. It tells you about, the most important thing is it tells you about the correlations. So now correlation is, let's say one forum is very similar to another forum, so it will tell you how much correlated it is. So they have their own correlation lab. The second tool, Oni Off. So Oni Off is just a simple tool. It takes your onion link, goes like, it tells you whether the onion link is up or not, and what the title of the onion link is. The third is Onion Nmap. As the name suggests, Nmap, it's basically Nmap for onion links, and it basically performs Nmap scan on those onion domains, and it uses proxy chains to go through the traffic, or go through the route. Now the last category is onion link scraping tools. Now you got all those onion links, you know which onion links you want to search for based on your requirement, or based on the tools that you used. Now you want to scrape the data out of those onion links. So again, there are three different tools in this category. Torbot, the first one is basically it gives you all the let's say you have ABC, some onion link some link dot onion. You put that down. Let's say, just for example, say you have Facebook's onion link. You put it in Torbot. It will give all the links that are on that Facebook first page. It will give you all those links, and also the HTML page. The second one, which is Tor crawl. Tor crawl will go more. It will give you all the links that are. It will visit all the links that are in that first page, and obviously give the HTML page. And with Tor crawl, you can include multiple links. You can give input as a file also, so that you have multiple links. Now we will talk about Onion Ingester in this category. So Onion Ingester is a really great tool. One of my good friends created it. So basically there are different parts in Onion Ingester. One is operator. First is source, then operator, and then notifiers. So the source is basically you put all those things where you can get the onion links from. So for example, you can include pastebin related sites, Reddit, as I told you before. You can include Twitter, GitHub gist. So these are all the sources where you can include these, where you can get those new onion links from. And again, you can include your own custom source also. The second is operator. So now once you have all those onion links, what do you want them to do? So there comes the operator. Now in operator, whether you want to take screenshot of the first page of all those onion links that you have, or the second is if you want to run the onion scan for all those sites. We talked about onion scan in the previous category, so you will know all the correlation, vulnerabilities, etc. Or the third one is if you are searching for a malware and you have written a Yara rule for that, you can search for that also. Or again, you have a custom operator, so you can create your own tool. Now here, like all these tools I'm talking about, if you want to modify them, here comes your scripting knowledge or coding knowledge, so that you can, if you have that, you can modify those codes and make them work according to your requirement. Or let's say if you are working for a company and they have a particular set of requirement, you can tune that code. Now the third part is notifiers. So this tool also notifies in terms of, it takes total screen daily, in terms of daily report. So for in daily report, takes total screenshot, total crawled onions, most collected, which source it's collected most onion links from, and etc. Interesting keywords. And it does notify in a Telegram channel. Like you can connect this onion ingester to a Telegram channel, which you can see on the left hand side. It whatever it finds, it gives out, it just sends message in a Telegram channel. And on the right side, you see a Kibana dashboard where it shows all the keywords, interesting keyword timeline, top 5 interesting keywords, etc. And this tool, it stores data in an Elasticsearch, so you can see a Kibana dashboard kind of thing where you can see all the stored data in the Elasticsearch. Now, the last thing which I want to talk about is what if, let's say, you have used all these tools and still you're not getting what your requirement is. Let's say you wanted to scrape some forum which you are not able to scrape using those 3 tools. So this is where your scripting knowledge or your coding knowledge comes into the play. So you can create your own scripts using all these available libraries or tools. So starting with the first one, Scrapy. Scrapy is basically you are scraping those information from the web, right? So that's where Scrapy is a web crawling framework which is written in Python, and it has multi-threading capability. So Scrapy is really good tool. So you can start with that for scraping. Second, obviously Tor. If you are visiting onion links, you need Tor. Onion scan, I already talked about. You can use the correlation lab onion scan and create your script according to that if you need that. Privoxy is basically, if you are creating your own tool, you would want to go through a separate proxy to Tor. You don't want to, because if you are just directly visiting Tor, your ISP knows that you are visiting a Tor node, because Tor nodes are public nodes, unless you are using the hidden nodes. So your ISP know, okay, you are visiting Tor on a daily basis and so on. So that's why you would want to use some SOX proxy, so that you can go through that. And there are many tools again available for using SOX proxy, like TSOX, Polypo, Privoxy. I've used Privoxy. You can use any tool. So that's that. The last thing, or one of the last thing, is Elasticsearch. Now you can use any database to store the data that you are scraping, but Elasticsearch is a really great tool because it has that searching capability in Kibana, through Kibana, that you can do, and also you can create dashboards and all. So that's why Elasticsearch is really good. So that was that, all the talk about technical stuff. Now the last topic is Opsec. So basically Opsec, or operation security, it's the process of hiding your real identity online while doing these dark web monitoring stuff, or while you're talking to the threat actors. Basically you are limiting, or you are preventing your personally identifiable information from going out to the threat actors, basically, so that it doesn't compromise you or your operations, because that's the last thing you would want, that the threat actor knows who you are, or you are a researcher. And doing that is hard, because at the end of the day, we are humans and we like to brag. Or not just researchers, threat actors, they like to brag, they like to overshare, and which can lead to oversharing a lot of things which you don't want. So some of the steps that you can take to maintain your OPSEC, the first one I already talked about it, using a lab or a VM, basically isolated system. Not having any personal information on that system is a must. Second is using Tor over SOX or VPN. As I again talked about this in the previous section, you don't want your ISP to know that you are visiting Tor on a daily basis. Third is changing time zones. So you may want to change time zone if you are talking to a particular threat actor on a daily basis, which is in some other time zone, so that you don't have that time conflict or you don't miss anything that you wanted to say at a particular time. Uh, Again, never talking about your work, that seems very easy, but you have to keep that in your mind, that you never talk about what you really do, whether you are a researcher, whether you focus on specific thing. You have to maintain, so for each side you have to maintain that persona. Again, as I told you before, this work, the human intelligence work, is basically a high tech equivalent of a agent, FBI agent going undercover. So they have a persona. Here also you have to make a persona. You can't just go as a your real self and talk to them. You should have a persona, you should have a backstory to the persona if you are going to indulge too deeply with a threat actor. And you can have different persona for different forums. So maintaining all those persona is hard. That's why never talking about your work comes into the play. Like, you should always have in your mind, you don't talk about your work for whatever persona you are using. And in those persona also, uh, so that you don't mix those persona, you should take extensive notes. Because if you are just dealing with different personas, there is a possibility that you will mix the way you are talking at in word persona, you use that in second persona. So that's bad. So that's why you should take extensive notes on that. And obviously password manager, you have different forums, you have different marketplaces. You should never use same password for any forum. You should always use new password, you should always use different passwords for different forums or marketplaces that you are on. So these are some of the Opsec, maintaining Opsec notes. There are many. One of them is this work, the human intelligence work, or talking to threat actors, doing dark web monitoring. You should not just, let's say if you're in a company that work 9 to 5, you should not just do that for 9 to 5. Because in most of the forums, most of the dark web forums, all users can see when a particular user was offline or when a particular user is online. So if you are talking to a particular threat actor and they see that, okay, you are coming online from 9 to 5 at a particular time zone, they will know, okay, you are a researcher, this is your daily job, you're doing it from 9 to 5. So that's bad. That's why you would want to do it on weekends, on odd times, like at night, uh, from whatever time zone you are working at. So that's why this can be termed as 24/7 work. Because and this is why it's hard. Doing human intelligence is hard, maintaining that relationship is hard. So that's why you have to invest time in this. Now, talking about case study, we will go quickly through a really recent case study, which was about all world cards. So there are many marketplaces or dumb shops, we call them, that deals, or carding shops that deals with these credit cards, that these threat actors that post all those credit cards that they found for sale. So there was this one site, all were cards, and this is, I think, August case study. All were cards, they posted 1 million credit cards on one of the forums, and they specified 20% or 30% of them were, 20% of them were still valid. So that's 200k cards which were still valid. And you can imagine these cards include CC number, expiry, CVV, name, country, address, email, phone number, everything. So all the PII that you can think about. So that was bad. And the information, again, information sold was CC number, CVV, name, address, etc. And top 5 affected banks were State Bank of India, Banco, JP Morgan Chase, and obviously you can see top 5 affected countries: India, Mexico, United States. Now, if you have, let's say if you are a bank, in this case, if you are a bank and you have a dark web monitoring, or you have a dark web research team in your bank, you would want to know about this. Like, you have your bank, and a lot of banks were in this. I think some 3,000 banks, 22 2,000 banks were bank cards were leaked. So if you're a bank, you know about this on a timely basis. Let's say on the day this post was posted, your team comes to know about this, you know about this, you can go ahead and block all those cards, because this TA, they posted all the cards free, most of the cards for free. So you can ban those things, you can ban those cards. If you don't know about this stuff, if you come to know about this later, many other attackers or other threat actors, they can use these cards, they can easily purchase this card. As you can see, total cost $12, which is not expensive, it's very cheap. So you can purchase the, or some of the cards, you can purchase these cards, and they can purchase, the threat actors can purchase these cards and they can misuse it. Then again, you have to like ban it later after getting it misused. So that's why timely intelligence or timely dark web intelligence is really important. So yeah, that was it. We talked about different types of web. We went through that iceberg diagram as usual. We talked about some misconceptions of dark web, like what is true, what is not true. We talked about why dark web is important. We went through few images, few screenshots of how threat actors sell these things on the dark web. We talked about skills. If you want to start in this, what type of skills you need, what skills you can survive with, what skills you cannot survive with. We talked about open source intelligence. We talked about few open source intelligence tools. We talked about human intelligence, like why it is hard, how you can make yourself, how you can secure yourself while doing human intelligence. And the lastly, we talked about few methods you can create your own scripts. Now, dark web monitoring is hard, as you can imagine, but it's worth the effort. You should always keep operational security in mind, because again, the last thing you would want is threat actor knowing who you are really. You should not focus only on one forum. See, most of the there is this, like, okay, one forum is really big, you're just focusing on that. That should not be the case. You should focus on multiple forums at a time, so that you get more result out of that. And again, you cannot do this alone, you should have a team with you. Starting, you can start alone, but if you are doing at that level, it's hard. You just can't. And it can be fun if you enjoy research and investigations and talking to threat actors, maintaining that relationship. If you enjoy all those things, then you will enjoy this. Few things, how you can, let's say if you want to start in this, but if you know that you have a lot of your credentials already on the dark web, how you can protect yourself. So you can use these two really great sites, Have I Been Pwned and Am I Breached, that can tell you what email, what data you have on the web. So I think Have I Been Pwned, you can do email and phone. Am I Breached, you can do credit card, email, address, phone number, everything. So you can search these things on these websites, and you can know, okay, my credit card has been breached. So you close that credit card and you go for a new one. Let's say your email or phone number, your email is breached or your password is breached, you change that password. So these things you take into consideration. You try to use multi-factor authentication on every online service that you are on. And yeah, you try to change things that you can. Now, some of the resources that if you want to start in this, so you can start with reading white papers and blogs. Again, a lot of security organizations, they release their white papers, blogs, newsletters. So you can just Google that, you can read that. You can follow people on LinkedIn and Twitter. Start with following hashtags, dark web, threat intel, cybercrime forums. You will get to know about people, talk to them how to know how they started their journey in this. And that's where you can start knowing, like, okay, people do this, I can start with this, or I can do something else. Some of the OSINT related resources, OSINT framework. OSINT framework is really great website where it shows different tools based on different categories or different areas that you're focusing on. Let's say web OSINT, search engine OSINT, etc. There are few blogs. OSINT combined dark web searching blog. It includes how you can start with dark web searching. Again, another good blog is by Jake Krebs, who's a OSINT investigator. So you can start with that blog if you want to know about OSINT tools for the dark web. if you are a coding person, if you have that scripting knowledge, and if you want to know how you can code you, or how you can create your own script for scraping data from the dark web effectively, you can see my SAN Cyber Defense Forum talk, where I went deep into the coding part, like how I created my own architecture to scrape data from the dark web. Or you can, if you are into ML, and if you want to know how you can utilize machine learning or deep learning into this scraping, then you can look at Levy's DEF CON Recon Village talk. They talked about how they used or how they are using a smart darknet spider by utilizing machine learning in scraping data from the dark web. So yeah, that was it. I hope you enjoyed my talk, and if you have any question, you can ask me now, or you can reach out to me later on Twitter or LinkedIn. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Apurv. Yeah, it was, I would say, an eye opener because as an instructor myself, there are so many questions around dark web that we often see, like, is it legal? It's not legal. How you should be directing people in order to use darknet. So we have few questions on the live chat. So I think we can first take that, and then I have my own questions.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, Saman, would you mind taking the questions?
First of all, going to the questions, Apurv, it was really a great session. I, being a very newbie to dark web and the open source intelligence, I could actually see a lot. Actually, I was, just checking it on, how much I am breached and stuff like that. So yeah, that is an eye opener for me. So thanks for that. And coming back to the question, the first question is, how does one communicate with other probable threat actors on the dark web? There's a second part as well, but if you want to take the first part first.
Okay, yeah, I can take the first part. So when you're starting in this, so on these forums, you create a persona. Again, as I talked, you create a username, you create a new profile on those dark web, and for whatever things you are going for, let's say you're going for data leaks, which is one part of, or I've talked about a lot of credit cards, so let's talk about that. So let's say you are going for dumb shops, and you are going for just credit card leaks, and you want to talk to threat actors there. So you create your profile in a way that shows, okay, you are interested in, or you yourself sell credit cards. You have to show that. You don't have to actually do that. You have to show that you yourself sell credit cards, or you are interested in buying those credit cards, and you have a lot of knowledge in this credit card buying selling industry kind of. So you have to show that, and you can show that in any way, whether you do daily posts of that, of educating users. So on these forums, there is section of where people educate other users in carding. Let's say carding, like how you can do carding, how effective is it, which different tools you can utilize. So you can share that. By that, other threat actors will know, okay, you are knowledgeable in this. So you have to do that for a long time, and then you can just directly message any threat actor, because once they see you have, and obviously all these forums, they have a reputation system. So you can maintain or create, you can get those reputation, whether it is reputation, whether it is number of likes, whether it is number of reactions. You can get those, maintain that for some time, let's say 3 to 6 months, you maintain that, and then you just message threat actors that you are focusing on. And once they see, like, they will obviously see your profile. So once they see, okay, you are good person as in you have a knowledge, you have those reactions, they will talk to you, and they will share information.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, thanks for that. And the second part of the question that the person has asked is, are there any specific messengers that are used only on the dark web?
Sorry, I didn't get you. Are there specific
messengers that are used only on the dark web?
So there are many only on the dark web. I don't think so. Most of the people, they use Telegram only, which is not on the dark web, obviously. Many use also Jabber and ICQ, which is chat system, but they are also not on dark web. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if there is, I don't know about it, but most of the threat actors, they utilize Telegram, Discord, Jabber, ICQ, yeah, these things only.
Okay, I hope the answer is valid enough for the person who has asked this. The next question is is there any way to index new dark websites automatically?
I mean, there are different tools, but usually what I do is I create my own scripts to, like, my script is like it's multi-threading, running always kind of thing. So it gets new pages every day, like new pages as in if there are any new pages, it just indexes that for the site I'm running that script for. So you can create your own scripts to do that. I don't think there is any readily available tool that does it, like if you run it and it scrapes all things. I don't think there is that. But again, yeah, you can create your own script.
Okay. Thanks
Sounds
so
good.
much, Apurv. Yeah, these were
Yeah.
all the questions that we had, and I pass it on to you, Astha, for your question.
Thank you, Saman. Yes, I have posted on the chat box that if somebody has more questions, they can still put it in the chat box even afterwards. We'll let you know if we have any questions. As of now, I have a few questions. One is when coming to Darknet, let's say if it's part of an organization's work, like they have researchers. So with what particular teams these researchers are closely working with inside the organization? Like, do we have any names, like how closely they are working with, let's say, threat intelligence, SOC, or different kinds of teams? So do you have any idea like how this works in an organization if somebody is working as a researcher?
Yeah, sure. So there are two types of organizations that do this. So one is vendor-based organization, which I'm working in a vendor-based organization. Like vendor-based organization, they uh, offer their services to other companies. Now the second is these big organizations or companies that have their own. Let's say I was talking about banks a lot. So big banks like Chase or other any bank, they have their own threat intel, what do you call, research group, right? So they have in that threat intel, they have their own dark web research group. So there are these two things, vendor based and other. So now in these organizations, like normal organizations that have their own team, obviously dark web research comes under threat intelligence, right? So under threat intelligence, they are effectively talking to let's say malware research team, their other threat intel team. So they are talking, these dark web researchers, they talk to them. They usually talk to engineering team also, because again, as I told you, not everyone has that coding background. So there are many tools that have been written by engineering team or by their development team. Maybe that can be in their threat intel team itself or their engineering team itself. So they talk to them. uh, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know about whether these people talk to SOC or normal defender team also, because I've never worked in a company setting like that. I know more on the vendor side. So on vendor side, usually we are connected to obviously engineering team, because not everyone knows. We are connecting to let's say uh, delivery team or sales team, where you or the client team, basically, because you are finding something for a client, right, in a vendor
Yeah.
based system.
Yeah.
So you have to report that to a client, and you as a researcher, you can't just go out and report it. So you have a separate team. So you give those findings, you, whether you are creating a report or you are just giving out those findings, so you give out to those delivery or client delivery, whatever you want to call that, to those teams. So I think these two teams, engineering and delivery, client delivery kind of team. And obviously within our own research, obviously we are connected to malware research, or if there are any other research team, open source. Yeah. So dark web research, we not always do open source research also. We only do that much open source that is relevant to a particular TA. We only do that. Just normal open source research like monitoring social media sites, we don't always do it. So there's a separate open source research team also in these vendor based organizations. So we are obviously we are connected to all those research teams. So yeah.
Okay, this sounds good. This actually gives a overall view, high level view of what might can happen in an organization.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling that. Now it brings me to two questions. You often mentioned about coding knowledge. So let's say somebody is learning this fresh, new, and they want to create custom tools because you shared a list of custom tools. So from that perspective, how much level of coding is required to start with the like creation of custom tools and scripting? So if you want to suggest this to someone, so what will you suggest?
So if they're just starting it, I think scripting is basic scripting, whether Python or Go. You can just go for anyone, or you can go for both of them because they have their own like good part, bad part. So you can start with just that. You don't need to know a lot of what do you call data structure and all, because you're just starting in that. But if you are like, if you want a really good let's say for example scripting, not scripting, if you want a really good scraping whole framework kind of thing, and you are doing that for a company, then you would want to either have someone who knows data structures or who knows complexity topics, so that they can like reduce the complexity, because you are running that code in for a production based system or for a company. So either you have that knowledge or you have a team with you who has that knowledge. So usually if you are working for a company, you have that engineering team, right? Like you
Right,
as a
right.
researcher, you don't need, like I as a researcher, I don't know much about data structures or how to reduce complexity. I know very basic stuff, so I can take their help. So I don't need to know that. I know a really good scripting. I know how to script. I know how to write a code. So just writing a code, and I think even let's say if you are working for a company, you can just make a POC kind of thing that works, and you can show them to engineering. They will create it. If
Got it.
you're alone, if you're just starting it, you can start with scripting, or you can start by creating basic tools. And then if you want to go more, you can just read on it and understand, okay, how I can reduce complexity for this stuff. So again, reading or talking to others, or talking to people who know coding a lot. So that can help.
Yeah, yeah, that brings sense because I understand completely the architecture part where we might need different kind of data
Yeah.
structures for retrieving information, storing information, and pulling up all the use case scenarios for a custom tools. We definitely we definitely need a team. So that makes sense. One more thing, like in Darknet, you said it's legal. It's not illegal, but when it comes to compliance, like where is the information coming from, with what type of threat actor, let's say you are interacting with, what is their location, like how do you trust couple of these things, like because compliance becomes an important part.
Yes,
and
yes.
especially for organizations, so how compliance is taken care of in these scenarios?
So most of the time, so there are few things that you should never visit. There are few sites that you should never visit, like let's say for example drug related sites. Like you should never visit those. I mean, first of all, why do you need to visit those as a security researcher? But and then comes again child pornography. You should never visit those. And when it comes to compliance and legal thing, even if you have let's say if you visited and these sites, and if there are any temporary, what do you call, let's say image or temporary link stored in your system, uh, that's bad. Like you should never have those. That's why I talked about these tools, that without visiting you can search what this website is for, so that you don't have to visit this website. So that's why there these compliance things are there, like you don't have to visit these. But in terms of so we usually focus on data, right? We don't
Yeah,
visit these sites.
exchange.
We usually focus on forums, marketplaces that deals with credit card malware, data leaks, etc. So for these, I don't think there is any compliance that or compliance mechanism that you are doing anything wrong, unless you are indulging in those activities. Like if you are yourself selling let's say credit card, which is again illegal.
That's bad.
You
Yeah.
can't just sell credit cards. So that's where you keep those just to talking, like okay, you are just talking to them, and you are showing that you have all those knowledge, but you are not actually doing it, right? So that's where that comes into the play. But again, all these companies, they have a legal team to guide them, whether it's a vendor based or whether it's organization, because dark web is, again, it's still not very well known to people from legal or people, law enforcement people. I mean, obviously law enforcement are also there, they are searching for these actors. So let's say if they find me, that I'm doing something illegal, and if I have my legal team backing me, okay, the thing you are doing was not illegal, then they can fight for that. But if there's something that I haven't talked to my legal team and I'm doing it, which is wrong completely, then I'm screwed, right? So that's where all the legal and compliance thing comes into the play. So it's still a new thing, new as in like not all parts of dark web is explored. So
yeah, makes sense. Actually, I was going to ask the legal aspect, but you already talked about it. Like they have legal teams, because that's important. One last question I have is about, you talked about TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures. So when we come to basically when we come to threat intelligence, and when we talked about the TTPs, so we have different areas in threat intelligence. We have strategic, we have operational, we have tactical. So what I know is this comes under operational, right? Because in operational, we are more doing these kinds of stuff, like investigating, uncovering new types of TTPs, right? So if somebody is would want to know about dark web and how it operates in terms of threat intelligence, so operational threat intelligence would be that area, right?
Yes.
Okay. This pretty much answers all of the questions. Thank you so much, Apurv. It was really, to be honest, I would not say it's insightful because it's a very small word. It was a very, very interactive session. You provided a lot of demos. You also provided information about custom tools, how to work with them. So this gives a very good idea to anyone who wants to join, who wants to start working on this area. So anyone who's watching this session, if you want to reach out to Apurv, you can reach out. Apurv, do you have your social media information shared on your slide?
Yeah,
you can just show it for the one last time. We'll also post it on our YouTube channel as well. So if you want to connect with Apurv, here are the Twitter and LinkedIn information. You can connect with him, and you can ask follow-up questions about Darknet and open source intelligence. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. And those who have asked questions, we'll continue to answer back your questions if you put those questions in the chat box. And we'll see you again next time with another session, another speaker. And thank you again, Apurv, for joining us